Hey there, KB. I'm here with another story for you. And check out the pictures in the story first before we even talk about it. There's four pictures, they're photographs for each part of the story. And in your head, you should already start to think, if I see photographs, that tells me that we are going to be listening to a non-fiction story today. Today's story is going to be non-fiction, which means it happens in real life. So these are real photographs taken with a real camera um, to help us learn more about our story. And the title of our story today is Field Trips. It's right here, Field Trips. Now, this story is about field trips, and unfortunately, field trips are something we usually do at school, but because of everything that's going on right now, we can't take any field trips in our class, which is kind of sad. Usually, we take a field trip to Port Farms, a field trip to the zoo, and other field trips that take us outside of the school to do some fun things and learn about fun places. But we just can't do those right now. But let's read this story to see where the class that we can see here, where they go on their field trips at their school. So let's start with the first part. We'll make the photograph a little bit bigger. Think about where they might be and what they might be learning about before I even read part one to you. And let's jump into it. Have you ever been on a field trip? A field trip is a special outing to a place in your community, such as a zoo or a local museum. You might go on a field trip with your class or with a club or a team. Field trips are a fun way to change your everyday routine. They also help you learn about different places in your community. A state park is an exciting place to visit on a field trip. In a state park, you can walk through a forest, go boating on a lake, or go for a hike. The people in charge of state parks are called rangers. The rangers can teach you about local plants, animals, rocks, and historical buildings. There are many outdoor activities you can enjoy at a state park. So, in part one of our story, we are at a state park. It looks like they are all learning from this man right here, who is the ranger of the park. They might be learning about the different animals or plants or sites in their community. So let's move on from our state park and see where we're going in part two. Oh, wow, this looks much different than the state park. Let's see where we are now. Do you like sharks, dolphins, and other underwater creatures? If you answered yes, then you'd love a field trip to an aquarium. Many aquariums have exhibits about animals and plants that live in the local waters. You can learn about the fish that you may have seen in rivers and lakes. If you live near the ocean, you can learn about the shells and seaweed that wash up on the beach. A fun part of any field trip to an aquarium is a special show with sea animals such as sea otters, which we see right here in the photograph. It is fun to watch these animals play. They are also very, very intelligent. They can use tools such as rocks to open clams. If you are lucky, an aquarium worker will give you a special tour. He or she can show you how the animals are fed, how their tanks are cleaned, and how they are cared for when they get sick. Field trips are a good way to learn about interesting jobs. You might discover that you want to work in an aquarium someday. So that's another awesome place for a field trip. Aquariums are really cool places that can show off animals and plants and other things from uh, bodies of water like lakes or rivers or even the ocean. And I really liked how the last part of this part of the story talked about different jobs. Sometimes when you're on a field trip, you might see a person an adult that has a job that you might be interested in doing when you get older. Let's check out part 3. If you think working with sea animals would be fun, what about fighting fires? Another exciting field trip is a tour of a local fire station. So check out the photograph here and see. You can see the firefighters, and it looks like the kids have their firefighting helmets on, and they're even getting to hold the fire hose. In many communities, people volunteer to fight fires to help keep people in their town safe. At the firehouse, firefighters will show you their trucks, uniforms, and other equipment. You might even get to sit in a fire truck. Firefighters cooperate with other workers in the community. Often they work together with police officers. Community helpers share facts that will keep everyone safe. Firefighters also work with animal rescue workers to help save dogs and cats. You will learn how quickly firefighters get ready when someone calls a fire or emergency. After a tour of the firehouse, you will know what to do if there is a fire or an emergency. So, we can learn a lot by taking a field trip to the firehouse. Firefighters have a very special job that requires a lot of bravery, and they really need to know what to do to act fast if there's a fire or an emergency. So far we went to a state park, an aquarium, and a firehouse. Let's see what's next for our final part of the story. How do you get your mail every day? What happens to a letter after you drop it in a mailbox? What's a zip code anyway? You can find out the answers to all these questions and more when you take a field trip to a local post office. During your field trip, you'll learn how a piece of mail gets from one place to another. First, a post office worker weighs the letter or package. Then the customer pays for the stamps. Next, other workers sort the envelopes and packages and load them onto trucks. Finally, the carriers deliver the mail to your house. When you are on a field trip, it is important to ask questions. Adults are there to teach you about their jobs. Do you wonder how many post office workers work together to deliver all the mail to your neighborhood? Do you know how much money it costs to send a letter? Now is your chance to ask. So I love that part in the story. Sometimes taking a field trip can give us a special look into the jobs that help make our lives easier. When you go to your mailbox to get your mail, it seems so easy that it just comes to your house every day. But it's not magic. There's lots of people with lots of different jobs that have to work hard to get your mail to you. When we go on a field trip to the post office, you can learn about these different jobs and the people that help make this possible. So, we took 4 different field trips to 4 different places: the state park, the aquarium, the fire station, and the post office. All of these places were different experiences and had different things for us to learn about. I want you to try to pick one that was your favorite. So your favorite could be the post office, the firehouse or fire station, the aquarium, or the state park. I want you to try to just pick one. And I want you to be able to try to tell me why this would be your favorite place to go on a field trip. Remember, we're learning about all different places this week. And if you could take a field trip to one of these 4 places, what would you pick and why? I can't wait to hear what you have to share, and I can't wait to see which place you picked.